Bruchim Habayim B'Shem Hashem. Actually, this is Mishlei. It's something that I always wanted to learn. I never learned it systematically. It's like Tehillim. I wanted always to learn it, and the zechut of the ladies shiur. My Rabbi Weinberg Zatzal told me, you learn the best when you learn to teach. When you prepare something to teach, that's how you learn the best. And he was on the target. So we're going to have we're not going to have Navi anymore. I mean, it's also Navi. But we're going to have the entire hour with Zat Hashem dedicated to, we'll see how many Pasukim of Mishlei we could go through. We are holding by Pasuk Gimel. And it's really, when I was in the yeshiva, the mashgiach of our yeshiva was Moshe Eisman, Shlita. So I used to have a seder with him to learn, one-to-one. That was a big privilege. So we learned, but we didn't learn for long, because every week we would cover maybe one pasuk, because he was very, very analytical, and this is really the way to do it. There is so much in every word. Since we know it's the Ruach HaKodesh, it's not just like the wise man's Shlomo HaMelech, as we said, the wise man's words. These are really, if it's not like Torah, but it's divinely inspired. So we really we need to contemplate the words, and you could try to think about it like in every pasuk that we learn, to go like in a deeper. Think about it during the week also, to contemplate, to see maybe you could find some new insights as well, right? So we are holding the Pasuk Gimel, and Shlomo HaMelech says, "Lakachat musar haskel, tzeder u'mishpat u'meisharim." Lakachat musar haskel. So musar we are familiar with from before. Because he told us that chokhmah musar. Here he's talking about musar haskel. So musar, we said it's really ethics, and it's basic. We said the shoresh of musar is because it's meyaser you. Meyaser you, in other words, it causes pain. For a person to change, it's painful. Change is a painful word. It's the most difficult thing to do. We spoke about this. When little babies don't want to be changed, no matter what kind of mess they are. So musar, we understand. Musar, it's like, we have, teachings, ethical teachings and guidelines that we have. We're supposed to, to adopt in our lives, and that will require making changes. We already learned from Gaon that we cannot change ourselves from one end to another end. That's not possible. Right? We said, and this is something to realize. What we could do is its containment. We could have some kind of control on things, and also to challenge those energies in a positive way. We said, like the Gemara says, if somebody, like the example we gave was somebody that is born on Shabbat, it has to do with blood. So you could channel it. You cannot change that, but it could become a shochet, surgeon, or God forbid, a murderer, right? So musar is really making changes or containment, let's call it. But tonight we have musar haskel. So Shlomo HaMelech says lakachat musar haskel. He doesn't say to study musar haskel. He says lakachat musar haskel.
What's musar haskel?
So musar haskel would mean a musar that is combined with sech. We're going to have different explanations. What is musar haskel? Musar haskel, and then tzedek u'mishpat u'meisharim. Then he talks about tzedek justice. Tzedek, really, in Shlomo HaMelech terminology, mishpat is justice. Tzedek, it's when you go beyond that. It's really chasidut, like charity, right? Mishpat is justice. Umesharim means straightforwardness. I mean, I could bring my, the English. We could read the translation from there, but roughly this is what it means. But we want to see with the Mefarshim what is exactly Shlomo HaMelech teaching us. So What is Musar Haskel? And how is it different than Musar? So Mefarshim explain, Musar Haskel is Musar im Sechel. You see, we spoke about this, you need to have judgment also. Now you can't, like some people, I think a good example would be when it comes to Lashon Hara. A lot of people, no, I can't talk. It's Lashon Hara, Lashon Hara, Lashon Hara. But you see, Musar has to be with Haskel. You have to know that, in any midah, any characteristic you talk about, they are always, right, they are yotzim min haklal. They are, exceptions to the rule. It's not absolute. We spoke about emet. The Torah tells us, Titen emet Yaakov, right? Titen Yaakov Avinu's midah was truth, truthfulness. You read the Torah and you say, well, what kind of truthfulness? The way he acted, even though he was forced by his mother to go and get the brachot from Yitzchak Avinu, instead of Esau. This is truthfulness, but the Torah says Titen emet Yaakov. Because Yaakov Avinu was the master of this midah, he knew when there are exceptions to the rule, right? He knew when there are exceptions to the rule, and this is applicable in any midah. In any midah, there are certain times. For instance, sure, lashon hara, it's asur, right? But you see it's so rampant that I'm afraid to talk about lashon hara because people at the times that they don't. It's not really lashon hara to say. They would not say, no, it's lashon hara. I'm not going to say anything. No, it's lashon hara. They are using it in we know that, you see, Tzom Gedalia that we fast, Tzom Gedalia ben Achikam, it was the result of this somebody having Musar without Haskel. It's mamash the Tzom Gedalia because Gedalia ben Achikam, he was the remnant of the dynasty of David HaMelech. After Churban, after the Churban and Galut exile, the Goyim, they put him in charge of the remnant of the Jews that were left in Eretz Israel. And people still had hope. Oh, we have something, even though he is not an independent king, but he is from the dynasty of David HaMelech, and there is hope. So this Gedalia ben Achikam was an unbelievable tzaddik. Too much of a tzaddik. He was a musar without haskel. They came and told him that there is, I think, what was his name, Ishmael ben Netanya or something. Somebody, a Jew, is plotting to kill you. He said, Chas v'chalila, that you say such a thing about tzaddikim. I don't accept Lashon Hara. Look, he's plotting to kill you. He didn't accept it. And he was assassinated. He was killed. When somebody tells you something, even if you don't accept it, but it has, you could like a red light or something, an alert should be lit in your mind to be careful. That even if you don't accept it as a fact, right? But and we know that anything that it's has a constructive purpose, and a person has really to know the halachot, to know when it's constructive, when it's not, then it's not Lashon Hara. Right, person, and it's. I just had a lady ask me for my Wednesday morning class. So somebody called me about a certain shidduch, and I know something terrible about this person. What's the halacha? So I spoke to her a little bit here and there to what extent it's really negative and it's really detrimental, etc. Finally, I told her in this case, you should just say that you don't know. Just be musadek. You cannot say a lie, but you cannot say good things either if you have this kind of things, right? Or it has happened, it happens. So people call Rabbi. I had a case like that. There was somebody that he was abusive, and he got divorced. And it was somebody I was a bit involved with it. That he would in a very cruel way. he really mistreated his wife, and they got divorced. And then people would ask me, I cannot say, at best somebody says, what they're asking, or but halachically, a person cannot not say the truth, and this is not Lashon Hara, because it's for a constructive purpose. If this person, there was a case, I told him, look, there was this history past in that I know there was a history, but we know people could do tshuva. It very well could be that that maybe he treated himself and it's not an issue anymore. But you see, again, to say in a musar haskel, this is what it means. The musar has to be with sechel. The Mefarshim says it has musar haskel is musar im sechel. Meiri gives some examples. He says, "Lemashal hashavat aveda." We know there's a mitzvah of the Torah Kedusha hashavat aveda that you find somebody lost an item and you find it. There is a biblical commandment. It's somebody to oraita to return it, right? But you see, this musar has also from the Gemara says there are exceptions to the rule. Like what? Like it's kohen. If let's say the person, a kohen is passing near a cemetery, and he sees somebody's stolen car is in the cemetery, or his goat is in the cemetery. A kohen cannot enter the cemetery. Is he supposed to go in and all mitzvot hashavat aveda? No, you're a kohen, you cannot go in. A kohen cannot be mitameh himself. A kohen cannot go to the cemetery even if to do mitzvot hashavat aveda, right? A lo ta'aseh cannot be duchel and aseh over here, right? Or zaken velo lefi chivodo. If it's gadol ador, somebody that goes and sees a pen on the street, is it like his kavod to bend over and pick it up to do hashavat aveda? No, there is such a thing that zaken velo kohen, and if it's bet hakvarot or zaken velo lichvodo, he's exempted from it. So Meiri brings these examples as what is musar haskel. In other words, the musar has to be with haskel, it's sechel, that to know that there are exceptions. And really, actually, this is the mastering a characteristic. The mastering characteristic is to know that there are to know it well enough to know when there are exceptions. I think I told you last week about Yaakov Avinu, right? That he learned the big musar from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't differentiate between your kid, right? I think we discussed it in this class, right? Yes. We see that in the Gemara says because he did make Tonut Pasim for Yosef HaTzadik, what happened? Like in Galut and they went to Mitzrayim. But you see, the same Yaakov Avinu that he learned his lesson, when he goes to Mitzrayim, and he wants to give brachot to Ephraim and Manasseh, what does he do? Again, he does the same thing. He comes and favorites the younger one. So what's going on? No, Yaakov Avinu learned his lesson, that you cannot differentiate between your kids, but there are still exceptions to the rule. Here, the circumstances, because we said, Ephraim and Manasseh were very different, and Ephraim needed more chizuk than Manasseh, so that's why he did it, right? So this is Musar Haskel. Musar Haskel, right? So it's what? Ladat sheish mikrim, right? That we have to know that they are, as the Meiri says, right? To know the exemptions to the rule. This is one understanding, right? This is Musar Haskel. Malbim tells us, Malbim says Musar is Yirat Chet. Musar Haskel is Yirat HaRonut. In Mesilat Hashem also we have two types of fear of Hashem. Actually, one is fear, one is awe. There is Yirat, right? There is a person, right? A person would hold back from sinning because he's fearful of consequences. If I do this, something is going to happen to me. Let's go back like in 4 years ago. There was a boy from Los Angeles, right? That he had those days. He came to our yeshiva in Baltimore, I know I was like the mentor there. I was there, for, So his family, I remember it was mother or grandmother, called me and he said, send this boy back to California. I said, look, he's not like a little kid. He's like, 19, 20 years old. He makes his own decisions. He's not being held here, forcefully. He made an. Why do you want him to come back? He said, این چرندیات رو بهشون یاد میدین اونجا. نمیدونی take them about kashrut and this and that. گفت پدر بزرگ من نمیدونم همش تعریف چی میخواد مغز گویمی هم به خودش مغزش هم سوراخ نشد. مغزش هم سوراخ نشد. In other words, this is really yirat chet, that you're afraid if I do this something's going to happen to me. And this is not the yirat that HaKadosh Baruch Hu really expects of us. Right? So, but it has to be yirat romemut. Yirat romemut is awe, the awe of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like David HaMelech says, Kir'eh shamecha ma'aseh etzvotecha ben HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When I see the galaxies, I see that how you run the world. You see Hashem's greatness. And we are really a dust in the creation, but yet we are so important to Him. A person says, Yirat Romemut is like a person davens shmonas. That you say, I am nobody. I could talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I am nobody. I could face Hashem, talk to Him, like He's in front of me, like the second person. Hashem, so that is Yirat HaRomemut. That feeling that you have there, it's not Yirat HaOnesh, I'm going to get part. No. It's an awe of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Malbim says Musar, that we mentioned before, is Yirat Chet. It's a person has a fear of Hashem because of, he's afraid. He's afraid of sin. He's afraid, if I do this, something's going to happen to me. But this is not, this is for little kids maybe. Right?
We need both.
What?
We need both.
We need both. You're right. You're 100%. Because you see, not everybody comes to the level of Yirat HaRomemut. Yirat HaRomemut, it takes intelligence, it takes depth, thoughtfulness, and a lot of people are not like that. So that's why you're right. We need both. That's why Shlomo HaMelech first he mentioned Radat Chokmah Musar. Now he's upgrading. Now he's talking about Musar Haskel. So Malbim says, so Musar is Yirat Chet. Musar Haskel is Yirat HaRomemut. And Yirat HaRomemut is something that we need to practice every day. Like a person, unfortunately, we get used to things. Enemy number one of the spiritual well-being of any person is hergel. We get used to things. We get used to all the miracles that we are surrounded with, right? To come to Yirat HaRomemut, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Kir'eh shamecha ma'aseh etzvotecha. Hashem, when I hear there's a new video or something, I have to say, everybody tells me it talks about galaxies and stars and stuff.
Cosmos.
What?
I think it's called Cosmos.
I don't know, the guys in Dafyomi told me, I said we should forward it to him. So one is really, how does it work? This earth, the way it's just going around, everything. In every second of existence, it's really the biggest miracle. Like the way Earth keeps that proper distance, the distance from the sun. If it's just a little bit changed, there is no existence. Or like even the tilt, the Earth is a little bit tilted. If that would be just a little bit changed, there is no existence. Who keeps this constantly? We are gravitation, etc. It's mamash marabu ma'asecha Hashem. We get used to it. Either that, or more than that, to me personally, that we could identify it's all the wonders in our bodies. Right? Like in Yov it says, Mi besari echazeh eloka. Mi besari echazeh, all the wonders of the body. I have a friend, unfortunately, I was talking today, his son is young, 25, 6 is Hashem should devote also the shiur for Shlema of Eliyahu Chaim ben Chana Reize. Saying like, how his son had gone for some kind of procedure to the hospital, and in the hospital, some kind of fungus entered his body, and it went to his brain, and you can never, things that you can never imagine. We have to appreciate really every second of good health. It's miracles upon miracles, but we get used to it. A person could come to that yirat haromemut. One is by looking and studying about astronomy and all the stars and everything, with the galaxies, etc. Or just just to say asher yatzar b'kavana, asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah. Right, every second we are able, to walk, to talk, to bend, everything, living. Its biggest miracle is being alive. So this is Musar Haskel. When a person comes to that level, so then it's Yirat Haromemut. Musar, according to Malbim, Musar is Yirat Chet, and Musar Haskel is Yirat Haromemut. Fine. And then it says, Tzedek u'mishpat u'mesharim. Shlomo Melech, after he defines this Musar Haskel to us, Lakachat Musar, and you see, also it doesn't say Lilmod Musar Haskel, it says Lakachat. Lakachat means you have to obtain it. Right? Musar ideas, we have to repeat it. Gemara says a lot of times, a certain Rav, he learned the No Halacha, he repeated it 100 times, or sometimes 400 times, Ad Shaya Munach, it's now it's in his pocket. You see, repetition is the most effective way of studying something. When a person, let's about anger, right? When a person learns constantly and over, right? And you see, one shot doesn't do it, right? The best example that that what really the Torah believes, how we could change, or at least to make dents, is by repeating the Veshinan. The Torah says, Veshinantam levanecha. Leshanen means to repeat, to learn Musar over and over. To learn Musar in one class, it's not enough. It needs to be drilled. It's like brainwashing. Actually, it's brainwashing. Right? And the way we learn the Gemara, it's from the story of Rabbi Akiva. Right? Rabbi Akiva, we know, after he was 40 years of age, he was Am Haaretz. Total Am Haaretz. Right? Licensed Am Haaretz. Right? Didn't know anything. Right? Then, we know that, but he had Midot Tolot. Right? He had, Rabbi Akiva, you see, and you see all this, I've seen it. People that have good midot, it's very easy to make them bilateral. If a person has bad characteristics, I tell other people in outreach, don't waste your time. They go to college campuses, etc. I said, look, if you see somebody has good midot, focus on them. Because you have to realize when somebody has good midot, or that's a very good start. If somebody has bad midot, Shema Yisrael, it's a waste of energy. Rabbi Akiva had good midot. Rabbi Akiva is the one, right, that the Gemara tells us that there was a Jew that he was from Galil, I think, and he didn't have he didn't have enough parnasa in his place. So he says goodbye. He says to his family, "Excuse me, now I'm going to go, to the south over there. There were farms, this and that. I'm going to go and to try to make some parnasa. I'm going to come back." So the Gemara tells us he goes there and he works there. I don't know for how many years he was working and working and working. Finally, comes time. He says, he goes to his boss and he says, if you don't mind, I need to go back to my family. I worked for you for so many years. Give me my, my wages, whatever I want to go. So he says, I can't give you anything. He says, okay, I understand. Maybe you don't have, cash. Maybe, give me some fruits. He says, I don't have. He says, maybe, give me some, you know what? Give me some bedding, some utensils that that I should go empty-handed to my. He says, I can't. I don't have anything. So he says, okay. He says, well, right before Yom Kippur or something. He says, okay. He says goodbye, and he goes back to his family. And he says, unfortunately, I wasn't successful. Right. Then it says, after Sukkot, I think, the boss takes a few donkeys. Nowadays would be a few trucks full of food and this and that and money, etc. And he goes to Galil to this man. And he says, tell me the truth. When I told you knew how much money I have, etc., etc. When I told you I don't have any money to give you, what did you think? So I thought, maybe, I knew you had money, but maybe you find a very good deal and you have to put down payment to buy the whole downtown. Maybe that's why you don't have any money. So he said, when I told you I don't have any fruits, etc., this and that, what did you think? He said, I thought maybe you give truth, you didn't give truth, Master, etc., etc. When you asked me to give you some mattresses, pillows, chairs, or this and that, what do you think? I said, I thought maybe you sanctified everything to Beit HaMikdash. He says, this is it. This is exactly what happened. I had, my son didn't want to go to work and stuff because he was relying on my money. I had told my son, you know what? All my wealth, I'm not going to give you a penny. I'm going to give everything to the Beit HaMikdash. And that's why when you came to me, I couldn't give you really anything. But afterwards I changed my, did Hatarat and Darim, this and that, and here I'm coming to, to pay you for all the good things that you did for me, and this is your salary, your wages, and the same way that you judged me favorably, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should judge you favorably all. The Mefarshim say this person, the worker, was Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva had very good midot. He had good midot. So then Rachel, the daughter of Bekal Basavua, she saw the good midot Rabbi Akiva had, and she agreed. She said she's going to marry him only if if he promises to learn Torah. You know the story, right? So they get married, and Kal Basavua, is not going to give a penny to them. Their chuppah was in a haystack, something, right? So then the Gemara says Rabbi Akiva, went to learn as he had promised, but he couldn't understand anything. He had to go to sit with little kids to start from Aleph, Bet, Mishnayot, etc. Right? So he was embarrassed. And didn't want to go. Right? So his wife told him, you know what? Okay, you don't want to go, no problem. Come tomorrow. I'm going to take a donkey and send you some goods with it. Right? Go to the market to sell it. And she went and she planted on the palun some, flowers. It was something very strange. So he went the first day to the market. People made fun of him. She told him, okay, go ahead, don't worry. So he kept going, and then they didn't make fun of him anymore. She told him the same thing. Don't be embarrassed if you're going to be silly. You're going to get used to it. You want to learn Torah. So he went. And then it says that one of the days that he was he was trying to study and it would not penetrate his head. So then he went to a well, the spring of water or something, and the famous, he saw what? He saw that the water, the dripping water by this spring had penetrated the rocks. So he said, if water that is so soft could penetrate a rock, Torah that is like fire cannot penetrate my heart and my mind. He went back to learn, and he was matzliach, he was successful. So the Gedolei Mefarshim said, beautiful point. He said, Rabbi Akiva, what he saw was that the teaching and the understanding how does water that is so soft is able to penetrate the rock. It's constant dripping non-stop. If they would take the same amount of water that comes from dripping, like you take 1,000 gallons of water, and you pour it on rock, nothing is going to happen to it. One shot, nothing is going to happen. How does the water penetrate what Rabbi Akiva saw? This was the lesson that how the water penetrates the rock. It's dripping, but it's constant. Dripping constantly, that could penetrate the rock. This is the reason every day we put tefillin, every day we put talit. We repeat the mitzvot constantly, and it has an accumulative effect. And the same thing is with Musar. Once hearing about anger is not going to change you. It's not going to change you, even if it's like in a heavy dosage. And you hear, wow, Rabbi, what happened to Moshe Rabbeinu? Because it's not going to do it. But if constant dripping with the same message, Rishinanta, then you're going to see changes. That's why a person needs to learn Musar every day. Every day a person needs to learn Musar, because only the repetition, the constant dripping, it's going to have the effect. That's why Shlomo HaMelech says, Lakachat Musar. It's not just limud. Lakachat is lekicha. It's like you have to obtain it. You have to kinyan it, a possession of it. By, as we said, when a person, right, it's done in a systematic, constant way, all these teachings could penetrate that, you know, even though its Torah is water and soft, it could even penetrate the rock. So, tzedek u'mishpat u'mesharim, David HaMelech. So לקחת מוסר השכל, tzedek u'mishpat u'mesharim. What's that? So here also we have a few mefarshim that talk about this, right? tzedek u'mishpat u'mesharim, David HaMelech היה עושה משפט וצדקה. The Navi tells us that David HaMelech would do mishpat and tzedakah. Mishpat and tzedakah are opposite each other. As we said, mishpat means what? Judgment. Tzedakah means like gemilut chasadim. Tzedakah is charity. So I mean, which is it din or it's rachamim? What are you doing? It says David HaMelech used to that. That's what the pasuk says in Navi. I think it's in Melachim, from the Shmuel Bet or Melachim. It says about David HaMelech Haya, right? Ose mishpat u'tzedakah. So lichora, these are opposite each other, right? Hofkiim, right? But you know, the Gemara says that's where the Mesharim kicks in. David HaMelech would come and David HaMelech used to be a judge also. He wasn't just a king; he was a judge. He was the head of the Beit Din. So people like let's say people have problems, financial disputes, they would come to him. So he would do, right, when you are doing judgment, you have to do judgment. No rachmanut, nothing. It could be one person is poor man, the other one is very wealthy. But judgment, if really the Torah tells you cannot say, oh, this guy is poor, let me give him the right. No. Mishpat is mishpat. Yikov hadin et hahar. So the HaMelech wouldn't have any rachmanut. In din, he wouldn't have any rachmanut. So he would act with, right, mishpat. But then after he would see that if the one that was lost the case was a poor person and couldn't really afford to pay back the money, etc., so then David HaMelech from his own money would give him a gift. Go give it to him. Right? I think probably that's what they do in the court system also, not the judge.
I wish. Next time I get a ticket off there.
Tzedek u'mishpat u'meisharim. Tzedek u'mishpat u'meisharim. So this is the meisharim. The meisharim is that, you know, that's the ashrut, that's the midot tovot. That even if like, you know, that's what David HaMelech used to do. So this is this combination of tzedek u'mishpat, everything observed, but at the same time, meisharim, it's something that, you know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would like when you go the extra mile. Metzudot, another of the Mefarshim on Mishlei, he says, beautiful, tzedek u'mishpat u'meisharim. He says this is similar to Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot, he says, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Right? Al Torah, al avodah, va'al gemilut chasadim. What does it mean? Maharal says that in life we have three sets of obligations. Each one of us. We have three sets of obligations. There are certain obligations that we have, it's vertical, between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. there is another set of obligation that it's horizontal between Ben Adam L'Chavero, between us and other people, same level. And then we have certain obligations towards ourselves. Right? We need to build ourselves. That's also an obligation. That's probably our most important obligation. That's why we're here on planet Earth, to work on ourselves. And then there's a set of obligations that we have horizontal, Ben Adam L'Chavero, between us and other people, and the vertical between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim. Torah is about building ourselves. Torah is about building ourselves, and that's the reason we know that in Torah, in the entire Bereshit, we have only 3 mitzvot out of 613. Entire Bereshit, it's Sefer HaYashar. Ramban calls it Bereshit Sefer HaYashar because Bereshit gives us the foundation. Bereshit, it's all about working, building ourselves, our midot, all the stories. In Bereshit, we have to be medayek. Weinberg Zatzad used to say, unfortunately, we don't do that. We go and we are medayek, by in Shemot. Soon we are going to have in Parashat Vayakel, Pekudei talks about the Mishkan. We learn over there from it. Just, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, build the Mishkan, it says, keep Shabbat. Just, that's it. That's all what it says from that smichut. That these two things are mentioned together, we learn all the Hilchot Shabbat. All the 39 melachot, avot, toladot, everything is from that little, just being these two issues being mentioned in the same context, right? So you see the same way that the Gemara says that in the rest of the Torah, when it comes to halachot, you have mountains that are hanging on a hair. You have mountains of halakha that are learned from just a hair of words or letters. The same exactness need to be applied in Bereshit. Right? That we learn all the musar, all the building ourselves from Bereshit. So Torah is about building ourselves. Avodah is that vertical, our obligations to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then Gemilut Chasadim, it's the horizontal, right? Our relationship with other people. So these are our obligations. Al Torah, al Avodah, al Gemilut Chasadim. So here in Mishlei, Metzudot says this is exactly what it's telling us. Lakachat Musar Haskel, we learn that we have to internalize the Musar with the Haskel as we've explained it, and then you should know the obligations that you have in Tzedek, Umishpat, Umeisharim. Metzudot says Tzedek is Ben Adam Lamakom. Tzedek is our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? When we are givers, etc. Mishpat is Ben Adam L'Chavero. Mishpat is in that Pirkei Avot, the horizontal between us and other human beings. Meisharim is what? Binyan Atzmo. Meisharim is build yourself. Like Shlomo Melech says, these are your obligations. You have towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, towards your fellow human beings, and Meisharim is straighten up yourself. You are born with a lot of Chordeshisheh. Everybody is born with some bad midot. And that's the reason why we are here. To work on it. To work on it and, to make those changes in the, otherwise, as Gaon says, we are going to come back. And if you want to know exactly Gaon, we're going to see later on. In Mishlei he says, if you want to know exactly why, what was the reason for your Gilgul, that midah that it's most difficult for you to work on, that's the reason you're here. Everybody has to think to himself, like exactly what is the most difficult.
I have a few.
Yeah, quite a few. Right? Tzedek u'mishpat u'meisharim. So you see, Maharchu says, Lichora, if this is, we are saying meisharim, Torah teaches how to correct, that Torah it's all about fixing ourselves. How come the Torah doesn't say that? The Torah doesn't say that there is a mitzvah that you have to work on your midot. The Torah doesn't say that. Torah tells us v'alachta b'drachav. Torah says, right, the only hint that the Torah clearly gives is After the Torah says you should keep Hashem's Torah and mitzvot, and v'halachta bidrachav, you should walk in Hashem's paths. So the Gemara says, are the paths of Hashem anything but Torah and mitzvot? The Gemara says, no. V'halachta bidrachav is mahu afata. Learn HaKadosh Baruch Hu, learn Hashem what midot He has, and you should adopt those mitzvot. This gentleman, we learned together Tomer Devorah. Tomer Devorah, it's actually today I was talking to somebody else, Alafta. I told him Tomer Devorah is life transforming. Like it teaches you how much patience Hashem has. We have to have the same amount of patience. We just did the beginning. Mi el kamocha. That's one of the midot. Mi el kamocha. Who is a God like you? And so Tomer Devorah says that Kadosh Baruch Hu is Melech Aluv. Hashem is a Melech, a king that people spit on him, chas v'chalila, and they aluv, they insult him, we insult him right and left, and still continues to give us life. So he brings by Goliath. Goliath was cursing HaKadosh Baruch Hu for 40 days. Hashem couldn't finish him in a second. Hashem has patience. Maybe he's going to do tshuva. So this is what halachta b'drachav. We are supposed to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Maharchu says his famous mashal. He says, right? He says, let's say if somebody comes and wants to build a high rise, right? Wants to build a high rise, and he brings a contractor, and they make how many square feet, this and that, right? Right? He's going to build this high rise. So in the contract, they're going to he's going to build this 20-story building, etc. Do they have to mention the contract that he has to build the foundation for this high rise? You don't have to say that. It's obvious. You cannot build the building unless you have the foundation. So Maharchu says the same thing is, you start with the Torah. The foundation is the derech eretz, the midot, yirat shamayim. If you don't have that, you can't build anything. So it goes without saying. The Torah doesn't need to say that in the contract, because this is the foundation, right? That's why the Torah doesn't need to come and tell you outright, you know what? I've sent you to this world also to work on your midot. This is the foundation. On the good midot, then you could build, like Rabbi Akiva that we just told the story. Because he had the good midot, it's already the foundation is there. Then you could build and go up. And so this was Maharchu. Chaim Vital says this mashal. Gaon tells us, and we're going to conclude with this, the Gaon says, the same pasuk, Lakachat musar haskel. I think maybe this sums up everything. Lakachat musar haskel. Tzedek u'mishpat u'meisharim. Gaon tells us, Musar Haskel is Musar Matzliach. It's successful Musar. When learning the ethics, it's going to be successful. He says, when it's Meisharim. And he says, what is Meisharim? Meisharim is the proper mix between the two opposites. You see, when it comes to midot, we have to realize that this is what Rambam in Hilchot Deot, he talks about this. Rambam says, except a few midot, one I think is Ga'ava and one is Kas, both of them come from fire. Rambam says, and this is what the Gaon is alluding to that, the Gaon says, when you talk tzedek, he said, according to Gaon, again, Musar Haskel, as we said, Musar Haskel means how you're going to be successful, the successful Musar that's going to change your life. You know what you do, you have the two opposites. You have, right, tzedek u'mishpat, there are two opposites. But then what do? You come and you make a cocktail, you combine them together, and then becomes Meshari. An example. For instance, Rambam tells us, being stingy is a very bad midah. Stinginess is one of the killing midot that there is there. On the other hand, The opposite of that is somebody who doesn't appreciate money at all. Right? And there are a lot of people like that. They just, when they get in trouble, they don't know how to manage money. They just spend without any cheshbonot. They don't look at their means, how much they have, they just spend. So both of these extremes are destructive. Right? Being a kilai, being a kamtzan, being stingy, it's destructive. On the other hand, a person that doesn't have that doesn't have any value for money and just spends right and left, he cannot manage a life. Right? You need to come to some kind of middle way. Right? This is Meisharim. So Gaon says tzedek and mishpat are the two opposites. Meisharim is haderech habenonit. Habenonit, it's like the median. This is shvil hazahav, right? In all the midot, he says, a person. Some people are very merciful, some people are very cruel. Both opposites are not good. You have to have it depends, depending on circumstances, etc. Definitely, you have to be merciful, but sometimes, right? Being too merciful also it's not good. When it comes in a person like for Buddhist kids in bringing up children, right? You need to have there must be discipline there also. You can't just give and give and give. You need to have the right mix. So Gaon says Meisharim, it's that exact the golden path. So Rambam in Hilchot Deot gives a lot of examples in all kinds of midot. But there are, I think, he talks about two midot that over there you have to go all the way to extreme. What are these two midot? Kas is one of them. Kas should be 0. Rambam says in a kas, the person is not allowed to get angry at all. At all. Sometimes you could panim shel kas, Rambam says. Sometimes pretend, exactly. Sometimes you have to pretend in order to discipline. But inside, you're calm. Right? This is one. Kas, he says, no, it shouldn't be in the middle. But again, you see, kas could be very constructive. A person has the temper in himself, but he has to control it. Control it all the way. To have full control on kas. And the other one is gava, haughtiness, and being big shot. So there also says hevem me'od shval ruach, that a person should have 0 gava. That really he except sometimes it's not his own. The halacha says melech shemachal al melech en kodem machul. Everybody could be to mechila and his kavod except king, because otherwise there is no authority, right? But it should not be exactly because the position makes him into that. But the person should, and that's the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu, picks Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe Rabbeinu was, he was anav mikol adam. He was a true, humble person. But when it comes, other than these two characteristics, two midot, kas and gava, in everything else, Gaon is telling us this is what Shlomo HaMelech says. Lakachat musar haskel, right? It says by Yosef, maskil. It says, maskil is successful. How you're going to be successful with your avodat hamidot? He said tzedek u'mishpat meisharim. That you have to take the opposites, right? Leave the opposites and go meisharim. Is the shvil hazahav to take that the median. That's going to be something that Be'ezrat Hashem is going to help us in this avodah and in Mishlei of working on our midot Be'ezrat Hashem.